Hello, good evening everyone, and welcome to this presentation on creating universal applications. Sorry, this title is kind of misleading, and why I will talk about it in a minute. As Gandharv mentioned, my name is Mayur Tendulkar. I am a MVP for Windows Platform Development, and I am an evangelist with developer evangelist with Xamarin. I write frequently about different technologies on my blog, that is mayurtendulkar.com. Also, I'm there on Twitter and FB, LinkedIn, almost all the social networks. So, if you have any questions, you can use the Q&A panel at the top, or there is a feedback button which you can use to give a feedback if you have any issues regarding the audio or video quality. So, let's get started. So, the agenda for this presentation is pretty simple. So, first of all, we are going to talk about three different platforms. So, always, when we talk about mobile, people talk about iPhone and iPad. So, this is the device which is available from Apple. This is all the hardware and specifications is controlled by Apple. There is only one operating system, that is iOS, which has different versions on it, and it is tightly controlled environment. So you can have different applications running on this device, and the same operating system, that is iOS, is available for the mobile device as well as the tablet. Then we also have Android devices, which is an operating system currently offered from Google, which has different flavors, right? As Android is open source, many different vendors have come up with their own flavor of Android, like Samsung is coming up with Tizen, and then some other vendors have their own offering. Now, when we talk about Android, there are different devices available, and actually there is no control over. So tomorrow, even you can go ahead and create a new prototype and have your own kind of operating system, which is another fork of Android. So there are different devices available, which range from like 4-inch or even 3-inch small screen device to a large 3D television sets, which are running Android devices, which are running our Android operating system. So this is pretty open market. So you can download any application. You can even root the device and become an administrator, and all that stuff you can do. And definitely from Microsoft, we have Windows Phone and Windows tablets. So basically, the operating system on the tablet is full-fledged Windows, so which has the new modern UI applications. So I hope you have seen Windows 8 running somewhere. So all the tiles and all the judginess that you see is a modern UI. The same operating system, kind of tweaked, is available for mobile devices, optimized for mobile devices. And it is Windows Phone operating system. So the operating system is tightly controlled by Microsoft. The applications are tightly controlled by Microsoft. However, there are different device vendors like HTC, Samsung, Nokia, who are actually manufacturing these devices and releasing in the market. So currently in the market, we have three different platforms to talk about. We have iOS from Apple, we have Android from Google, and we have Windows and Windows Phone from Microsoft. So whenever you are building any application, you want to target all these different platforms. You cannot say that I just want to have my application for iOS, because there will be always someone who will have Android device, or there will be someone with a Windows Phone device. So whenever you are, let's say, creating another Facebook, you need to have that Facebook available across all these different platforms. Now, when we talk about these different platforms, that is, we want to target all these different platforms, we have one approach, which we call it as at Xamarin, we call it as a silo approach. So here, if you want to build an application for iOS, you can go ahead and hire a developer who knows Objective-C, and to build that application, you need to have the environment IDE called as Xcode. Or you can have another developer who knows how to create an Android application, and for that he needs to know Java as a language and Eclipse as an IDE. There is another IDE called as Android Studio. Similarly, if you want to build an application for Windows, you need to know C#, and yes, we need to use a tried and tested IDE called Visual Studio. Now the problem with this approach is, if you see, the same application we need to build for multiple times. So if suppose I want to build in Facebook for all these different platforms, I need to build it for 3 times, right? The functionality is same. I just need to log in. I need to see all my friends. I need to update some status. I need to check my friend's status or probably comment on it. Or maybe I'm just using the Facebook for birthday reminders. But the same functionality we need to replicate across these 3 different platforms. So that means, in a nutshell, we are actually building the same application 3 different times. Unless and until you know all these 3 different platforms, which is very rare actually, you need to manage multiple teams. So you need to have someone who is Android designer, who is iOS designer, who is a Windows Phone designer. Similarly, you need to have someone who is an Objective-C developer, Java developer, and C# developer. There are very few people who can actually go ahead and write applications on all these different platforms and who know Objective-C, Java, and C# very well. So this is these are the 2 challenges. The next one is multiple code bases. So when I say multiple code bases, the same functionality is available at 3 different locations. For Visual Studio, probably we will use TFS. For iOS, probably we will use some SVN or Gate or something like that. So the same code to authenticate with Facebook, the same code to post something on the Facebook is scattered across 3 different places. So if suppose you want to implement one functionality, let's say functionality to check into a place on a Facebook. So in that case, you need to implement that same functionality across these 3 different platforms. So that is actually a pain. And here we also need to have some different tool sets. So IDE is one thing, but there are different tools like to sign the application, to generate the mockups, to probably to test the applications on the device. There are different tools, and you need to understand all these different tools. So that is actually a pain when we say that we want to target all these different platforms, because these 3 different platforms are totally different, and the problem is their working, their concepts, everything is totally different, and there is no common denominator as such. So Xamarin come up with a solution that whenever you want to build an application, you can build actually 3 different applications, okay? But the logic that, as I just talked about, like putting something on Facebook or authentication or just getting a birthday reminder, that entire logic can be put into code library. So we can have 3 different applications for iPhone, Android, and Windows. However, the entire logic we will share across these 3 different projects. So why we actually ask you to create 3 different projects, not just one project and one output which can run across 3 different platforms, because we want to give a native user interface. So if suppose I create a tab page, so it should look like a menu which is at the bottom in the iOS and which is like a pivot page in Windows. I will quickly show you how actually it is rendered when we will talk about the next demo. But here you need to understand that user love their user will love your application if it is adapted to that particular platform. Just think about how it will look like if I suppose give you Windows 3.1 kind of user interface on a Windows 8 machine. So what actually happens is you will get frustrated. Why? You have maybe 2 GB of graphics power, you have maybe 4 GB of RAM, but eventually on a big screen you are still using Windows 3.1. People will not like it. You want to have a new look and feel. Your application should adapt to that particular platform. So it is very important to have native user interface. So that's why we say that whenever you are building any application, have it for 3 different applications for 3 different platforms, but share your logic. It also gives you something like a native performance. So when you build an application for different platforms, as Xamarin actually compiles your application for that particular platform, it runs on that bare metal. Okay, it is nothing like a application running inside a browser, so you get a native performance. And you can share the code between 3 different platforms. So when we will go to the demo, I will show you how you can actually share the code between all these different platforms. But the best thing with this approach is you can write your applications in C# using .NET Framework. So as we were talking about 3 different platforms, we knew that we understood that for iPhone we need to learn Objective-C, for Android we need to learn Java, and for Windows we need to learn C#. But as we are .NET developer and as we are attending this presentation, mostly we are aware of C# language, we are aware of .NET Framework. So we can use the same knowledge that we have currently to build the applications for different mobile devices. And with the Xamarin approach, you can go ahead and you can be rest assured that all the APIs which are available across these different platforms are available. Let's say you are building an application like Instagram and you want to use the camera functionality. So you can go ahead and use the camera functionality which is available in that Android application, in the Android device or iPad device or even a Windows Phone device. So when you call that the camera functionality or camera API, you can be rest assured that all the functionality which is available in that particular platform is available, because internally we provide you something like a binding or a wrapper on the APIs which are available on that particular platform in the C#. So using C# and .NET Framework, you can access almost all the power of that particular platform on which your application is running. So before going ahead, you need to understand that whenever we create a project, shared project, or whenever we are creating an application, application which is actually running across different platforms, we are going to share something with all these different platforms. So there are 2 approaches to share the code between different platforms. One is shared project. So when we say shared project, it is basically nothing but file linking on steroids. What does it mean? So whenever we go with the Visual Studio, if suppose we have multiple projects in one solution, we can actually refer one file across multiple projects rather than just copy pasting it. Okay, it is just like a file copy that we are maintaining across different projects. I will quickly show you when we will go to it. In shared projects, we can use something called as compiler directives. So if suppose this is a Windows project, do something. If it is an iOS project, do something. If it is an Android project, do something. So if Windows Phone or if Windows Mobile, then do this kind of compiler directives we can use. And we can say that even though I am building a project and sharing a code, if suppose that application is running on a particular platform, use this particular feature. So that we can also do. You can also have opportunity to do a refactoring and navigation between the code. And to use shared projects, you require Visual Studio 2013 update 2 and above. Okay. So now, if you are in Xamarin Studio, or you can go ahead and say File, New Project, and you can see a shared project template over there, and you can create a shared project. So basically, whatever files you add into this project, those files are available across different projects. And then portable class libraries. Portable class libraries are nothing but a DLLs that you get. Okay. And whenever you create a new portable class library, you can say that I want to run my application on these platforms. So in that case, it selects a common denominator of the APIs which are available. So if suppose I'm targeting Bluetooth, which is just available on Windows Phone 8.1, and not just say that it is not available on Android. And if I have selected all these different platforms, just because it is not available on Android, I will not have that feature. So whatever is available across all these different platforms which you have selected, that only will be available. And this particular feature is called as profile. So whenever you create a new portable class library, you have different profiles, and from those profiles you select, you get the API access. There are different pros and cons. So when to select shared project and when to select portable class libraries. So you can see that in shared project you have almost all APIs available, but portable class libraries enforces something like a good architecture for cross-platform applications. Shared projects are platform specific. You can add different logic over there. You can have, as I said, compiler directives. but they cannot be unit tested. Whereas portable class libraries are can be easily unit tested, but writing a platform specific code in portable class library doesn't make sense. In shared projects, you can have any kind of type, file types. Even you can share images or you can share source code files. But in portable class library, it's kind of difficult to share different file formats. And shared projects are basically shipped as a source code. Shared projects are not compiled. That is a biggest disadvantage of shared projects. However, in case of portable class libraries, when you build, you get a DLL as output. So you can share it with your friends if you want to share the logic with different projects. Why C#? Because we have link, we have async await, we have JSON XML handling, and much more. So what we are going to do is we are going to see how we can write Android and iOS applications in C#. So let's go ahead and create a multi-platform app using Visual Studio and Xamarin. For this, I will share my desktop, and I have my Visual Studio 2013 running over here. I have Visual Studio 2013 with update 3 installed along with Xamarin tooling. So here I will say file, new project, and here you can see we can go to here. First of all, you can see that we have different language options. So I will select C# over here, and in C# we have store apps and we have Windows desktop apps. So when we say Windows desktop app, these are the different applications that run only on the Windows running on a desktop. So if suppose you have a Windows running on a tablet, these applications cannot run on those tablets. Okay. So tablets, when I say tablets, these are basically ARM processor, ARM processor based tablets. And then we have store apps. So when I say store apps, we have universal apps, we have Windows app, and we have Windows Phone apps. As I started the presentation, I said that the title is kindly misleading over here because Microsoft has universal app project templates, and these universal app are basically only for Windows Phone and Windows 8. However, we are also targeting iOS and Android as well. Okay, so it is like cross-platform application development per se, and it is broader to the universal app. So when I say universal app, it creates Windows applications as well as a phone application. Or if suppose I create a Windows app or phone app, it is just to that particular platform. Okay. So just to show you, I will how actually it works. I am going to create a Windows Store universal app, and let's give it a name as ComCamp 01. So when I create a new project, universal project, in the Solution Explorer, you can see that we have 3 different projects over here. One is Windows project, one is Windows Phone project, and one is a shared project. So a shared project is basically shared across these 2 different platforms. So I can go ahead, right click, and let's say add a new item, which is basically going to be a, let's say, C# class, and let's call it as an employee class. And just to look beautiful, I will just add 2 properties into it. Public string name. Okay. So if suppose I go to the Windows app, and if I go to main page, and here I can access that without actually referring. Is equals to new employee, and you can see that without actually referring, I haven't said using something shared or something like that, right? So I'm still able to use that because internally the project is referenced. So in the references, you can see that this project is shared. So this is basically a shared project. And one thing that you need to understand over here is this project is the shared project is not compiled. It is whatever you have added in the shared project is basically given as it is to the project where you have actually referencing it. So for example, here you can see the icon is totally different. If suppose I go to the app.saml.cs, you can see that here it is using a compiler directive, right? So if it's a Windows Phone app, there is some different transition going on. Okay, so whenever the application is launched, Windows Phone has a different transition effects between different pages. So here there is a transition collection. So these are the compiler directives which are available. So these compiler directives you can use in shared projects. Now let's go ahead and create a new project, and here in C# I'm going to create a class library called as portable, and I'm going to name it as, let's say, ComCamp 02. Now here you can see that it asked me to select different platforms. So here I can select whatever platform that I want to target, and as I keep adding those different platforms, excuse me, the API that can be targeted by that particular class library goes down. So whenever I select, let's say, 4 different platforms, API which is available across 4 different platforms will be only available in this DLL. So I create OK. I click on OK, create a new class. So whenever I build it, this will become a DLL and I can refer it. So now let's go ahead and see how actually we can create a cross-platform application. So whenever you are creating a cross-platform application, it is a good idea to go ahead and first of all create a blank Visual Studio solution. I will give it a name as ComCamp 03. Okay. So this is our empty solution. In this solution, let's go ahead and add C# based portable class library ComCamp 03.portable. Okay, so I will hit OK over here, and yes, we are going to target Android, iOS, Windows Phone. We basically don't need Windows 8 or Silverlight 8, Windows Phone Silverlight 8 based application, but it depends on you which platform you want to target. So select yes. So just create a class called as employee and public int ID. Let's say it's employee ID and public string name. So we have 2 properties. Now let's go ahead and add a new project which is going to be a Android application. So let's go ahead and create a blank Android application, and I will give it a name as ComCamp03.droid. Android is a reserved keyword, so I actually avoid it in our applications. Similarly, I can add a new project. Let's say iOS. It is going to be iPhone application. I can create a universal application here as well, which will run across iPad and iPhones. So let's go ahead and create an iPhone application alone, and it is going to be a single view application, and I will give it a name as ComCamp03.iOS. Similarly, I will add a new project which is going to be a store app Windows Phone .4. So here we have these 3 different projects and 1 portable class library. So what I can do is I can go to Droid project and say add a reference, and I will say that the portable library. Similarly, for iOS, I will go ahead and add a reference to the portable one. Okay, I think I cannot add it right now. Okay, let's try it for the different one. Okay, so now I can go to the phone application, and in the phone application, in the main page, here I can create, first of all, let's say using ComCamp 03 dot portable, and here I can see employee E is equals to new employee, right? The same code I can write in the main activity of Android applications. So here, using ComCamp 03 dot portable, and I can say employee E is equals to new employee. I guess I have added the reference ComP03 dot portable. Actually, it should work. So this way you can have your logic. So I have this portable class library. In the portable class library, I can write my entire logic, my models, and I can reuse them across these three different platforms. So this is how you can create a cross-platform application. Now, going ahead with the presentation, many people said that it is good that Xamarin allow us to create a multi-platform application, cross-platform application using C# and Visual Studio, but still we need to create the three different user interface elements, right? So we need to write three different applications. We need to have three different users. So we went one step ahead, and as of now, you can see that we have shared app logic, we have iOS user interface, we have Android user interface, and we have Windows Phone user interface. And we basically created three different applications, and we created one library which actually we are sharing across these three different applications. But now, with one step ahead, we can actually create the user interface as well in this in one particular project, and we can share it across three different projects. So here I will switch back to the Visual Studio, and here I can create a new project, and here I will select mobile apps. So here you can see that I can create a blank app, which is basically a Xamarin Forms portable. So it uses a portable class library. We also have Xamarin Forms shared. So basically it creates a shared project, and it's class library portable. So it is just the portable class library. It doesn't create any three different projects. So here, let's go ahead and create a blank app portable, and I will name it as ComCamp 04. So it is going ahead and creating all the different projects for me. Okay. So you can see that it has created an Android project for me, it has created an iOS project for me, and it has also created a Windows Phone project for me. Okay. So let's do one thing. Let's just start the Windows Phone project and see how actually it works. So it will start an emulator, and it will load that application, and it is Hello Forms. Similarly, let me just quickly start the Android device over here, and let's run it over here. Hope so it will get installed on the device. So it is building the Android application, and it will package it and deploy it onto the device. And you should be able to see the same application over here. Bingo. Similarly, if you have a Macintosh in the network, I have one. I can right click and set it as a startup project, and I can run it, and it will actually launch the same application on the iPhone simulator. So now rather than talking, let me just quickly show you how actually I built one real world application. So here we had an event called DevCon, Pune User Group DevCon. So we run a user group over here in Pune called Pune User Group since 10 years, and we host our annual event called DevCon, where we invite speakers, we invite a lot of people to talk about different technologies, learn, share their knowledge. So for this event, I actually created a mobile application. So you can see that it's a Xamarin Forms application. It is available in Android, it is available in iOS, and it is available on Windows Phone. So in this portable application, I have this app.xaml.cs where I have created some models as well. So you can see in the models, I have a sponsors model, I have a speakers model. So basically this is like a table which will exist in the database. Okay. So here I have just created a list of all these different models. So whenever my application starts, it goes ahead and downloads all the data and store it in this list. Okay. So here I am creating a new navigation page called as home page. So if suppose I go to the views, in the home, you can see that it is a traditional XAML, just like the XAML that we have in Windows Phone, Windows 8. To create a user interface, we have it over here. Okay. So I just want to show you quickly how actually this application will look like. So let's start it on the emulator, and then I will show you how actually I build this application. So this is how it looks on the Windows Phone, and I have this application running over here, and you can see that how actually it looks on the Android. Similarly, it will look on the iOS as well. I'm unable to start all the 3 different emulators at the same time, so I'm just showing you 2. So I can go to tracks. Here also I can go to tracks. You can see that it utilizes the back button, and here there is a navigation for back as well. Okay, right? Or I can go to the sponsors, and you can see that it shows action bar navigation, action bar based navigation over here. And if suppose I come back and go to sponsors, it converts it into a tag page. Okay, so how actually I build this? So whenever we create so whenever we create, let's say, a mobile app, Xamarin Form based mobile app, let me just create a blank once again. In the portable application, I can go ahead and add a new page. So let's say I want to add a forms SAML page, and let's say it is a home page. So here you can see that it is the same XAML that we used to see in the Windows Phone world is available over here. So I have this label. I can also have a button. Let's say the text on the button is click me or something. Okay. So similarly, you can have different pages over here. So you can keep adding different pages. And in the app here, rather than returning a new content page, I will just return navigation page, so that whenever I'm navigating from one page to other page, it will automatically show the back button on the top of in iOS and Android. Okay, so here let's create a navigation page, and it will launch a new home page. Okay, so this way you are going to build this application. So you will have different XAML pages and one navigation page which will load different pages. So let's quickly go ahead and see how actually I have built this DevCon application. So here whenever my application start, I have just created few static lists just to hold the data whenever I download the data from the web, and I have this navigation page which launches the home page. So on the home page, just to start, in the views you can see I have this home page which is a XAML page. If I go to code behind, I'm just saying that create a list of menu, and I have this different images, and then I have this list over here called as home menu list. I'm just binding this list to this home menu list. Okay, so that means whenever my application starts, it loads the home page and it shows all the different menu items over there. Okay, and you can see that here I can actually go ahead and say that if it's Windows Phone, okay, header template should be seen, otherwise you can hide it. So this way you can say that if suppose it's Android, do something, if it's suppose iOS, do something. So you can have a platform specific code here as well. Okay, and here I'm saying that whenever I click on the tracks, just go to the tracks page. So here I have the tracks page, and here in the code behind I'm going to the web and downloading entire different categories of tracks that are available for that particular event. Similarly, I do it for speakers. Similarly, I do it for sponsors. One thing that I would like to show over here is when we talked about the application over here, you can see that for sponsors it shows a horizontal navigation bar at the top, and in case of Windows Phone, just let me just quickly launch this application. It shows a pivot, right? So how actually it is done over here? So here what I have done is, in the home page I have created a new sponsors page, which is basically a tag page, and within that tag page I have added 4 different sponsors. So tag page is basically a control which automatically renders differently on different platforms. So it becomes a probably UI tab view navigator kind of control on iOS. It becomes a pivot control in Windows Phone, and it becomes the action bar based navigation control on the Android. Similarly, you can create an entry which becomes a text box on Windows Phone, UI text view on iOS. So basically, in Xamarin Forms, what actually happens is we give you an abstraction for different controls. So even if I go to the Android application, you can see that there is just one activity, and within that activity, I'm just calling the get main page. So the entire code that I have written in the portable class library to generate the view is fetched over here and displayed. Similarly in the iOS, and similarly in Windows Phone. In Windows Phone, you can see that I have just one main page, and in one main page I am just calling the get main page method from the portable class library and displaying it inside the first screen of Windows Phone application, that is inside the main page. So let's go back to the presentation. So as I just mentioned, so if suppose you want to create a Facebook kind of application which actually looks kind of same across the 3 different platforms, probably you can go with Xamarin Forms. So Xamarin Forms is like one way to create or build cross-platform applications rapidly. It also allows you to share the user interface elements. Okay, so it actually abstracts away different user interface elements and allows you to create a user interface in the shared app logic itself. Whereas if suppose you want to have a control on the user interface, how actually it should look like, and you want to go ahead and utilize all the features, and you want to control the entire application for each different platform, go ahead with the traditional approach. That is the first one, which is shown on the left hand side. So these are the two different approaches that we have to build cross-platform applications for Windows, Android, and iOS. So this is the UI abstraction that I was talking about. So you can see that we have this content page over here, and within that content page we have title. So it displays a title over here at the top, and at the bottom we have a tab page, and we are setting children as a profile page and the settings page. So here you can see how actually it looks like differently on different platforms. On iOS, the menu bar at the bottom. On Android, it is at the top, and on the Windows Phone, it becomes a pivot control. So this is basically a UI abstraction that is provided by Xamarin Forms. So we have just seen the demo about how we can create cross-platform applications using Xamarin Forms as well. So if you have any questions, please ask using the Q&A panel at the top. Once again, my name is Mayur Tendulkar. I write blogs on my site mayurtendulkar.com on different technologies, and my email ID is mayur.tendulkar@hotmail.com. I will be here for next 15 minutes. If you have any questions, just let me know.
Thank you, Mayur. Thank you for the session. That was a wonderful session. So, any questions and any questions that you have regarding the sessions, please can you post on Q&A panel? I think we have one query. Abhijit wants to ask one thing. Are you visit the site appray.io? Mayur?
Hello, I haven't seen that site, so let me just quickly go through it. Okay, it is like another platform to build cross-platform application, and it uses HTML5, JavaScript. Okay, so Abhijit, can you type in more details about here so I can answer that question? So the question was, can I see the appray.com sites? And yes, I have seen it, and it uses. There are basically two different approaches to build cross-platform applications. One is using HTML5 JavaScript platform. So it is basically a hybrid application model. And the other one is using Xamarin. So here we give you a native application which is native to that particular platform. In case of HTML5 JavaScript, when you build an application, it is actually running inside a Chrome. Chrome as in a browser Chrome. It is like running inside a web view. Wherever when you use Xamarin, when you use C# as a language for cross-platform applications, it actually boils down to the Objective-C or kind of the output that you get from Objective-C or Android or C# project. So it is like a native application that you get for each of these platforms. I hope this answers your question.
I'm sure it did answer the question, but I think he had some follow-up questions as well.
I don't see any question.
Oh, actually, he was asking us that if we can unmute him. Unfortunately, the event sessions cannot be, so attendees, we cannot make them, we cannot unmute them. So I just responded to him. If he has any questions, Abhijit, you can use Q&A panel if you find it smaller. I think Mayur's email address is there, so you can directly write to him. Well, looks like he's the only person who had a question.
If suppose you have any further discussion-based questions, longer questions, you can always write me an email. Abhijit, yes, there are multiple ways. As I just mentioned, there are multiple ways to build cross-platform applications. Like there are two ways. One is using HTML5, JavaScript, and PhoneGap, and the other one is using C#. So when we say HTML5, JavaScript, and PhoneGap, you have Telerik, you have Intel XDK, you have this appre.com. So there are different vendors which allow you to build cross-platform applications using hybrid model, and the other one is Xamarin, definitely.
Cool. I think there are no other questions.
Okay.
Well, thanks a lot, Mayur, for the amazing session, and I'm sure the attendees online, got something good out of this, and they'll be certainly playing with the tools which you have explored. And also, if there are any questions which you couldn't ask in this session, feel free to write to Mayur, and yeah, certainly make some new apps. Well, with that, thanks again, Mayur, for your time, and for the audience. There is a session tomorrow at the same time, 8 o'clock. That's going to be on how you can manage your cloud and on-premise IT infrastructure. So that is primarily for the infrastructure guys. So if you are an IT admin, I'm sure that's going to be very helpful. So feel free to join that. And if you have any of your colleagues, you can certainly have them register for that session, attend that. So with that, thanks again for joining the session, and the session recording will be available. So just in case I saw that you guys joined late, so they can go through the session recording, and we will also publish this recording on the YouTube channel, so you can even get the recording from there. So with that, thanks again, everyone, and have a great day ahead. Thanks, Mayur.
Thanks.